You know, I actually never knew R.L. Stine did adult-themed horror because growing up, I grew up with Goosebumps, like children's horror novels. It was a huge inspiration for me and a lot of others. So when I saw that R.L. Stine's new series was getting a trilogy on Netflix, I was like, what is this? Fear Street novels? I was like, I've never even heard of this. So I went into this movie thinking R.L. Stine vibe, children like, and then I saw it was rated R. And then I watched it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. R.L. Stine, where have you been all my life for adult-themed horror? Fear Street Part 1, 1994, stars Cayenne Marderia, Olivia Scott Welch, and is about a circle of teenage friends accidentally encounter the ancient evil responsible for a series of brutal murders that have plagued their town for over 300 years. Now, I just learned about this Fear Street Trilogy coming on Netflix this week because everywhere I see, people are just raving about this movie. I was like, alright, I'm a horror fanatic. I'm a huge horror fan. I gotta watch it because everyone I've been talking to has watched it. It's been wonderful. It's the best slasher they've seen in years. I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. And I sat down, and I say this right now, I had a ton of fun with this movie, and I think a lot of you can too. Starting off with our positives is the director, Lee Janek, which, if I said that wrong, I am so sorry, madam, if you're watching this. Thank you for watching, but you did a wonderful job. I mean, wow. From beginning of this movie, I was like, somebody watch Scream, because the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is Scream. If it's not Scream, then I do not know what they were watching to do this movie, because the opening of this movie, how the killer kills a person, I'm like, this is Scream. This is exactly Scream. And after that, the movie gets in its own rite of passage, and I really have to say, I was really entertained, and like I said, the direction, so good. I mean, there is really good camera work, great performances by everyone in this movie, and the director deserves a lot of credit because, I mean, you're making a 90s horror film in a 2021 release date, so you gotta just make it the 90s. And I watched with my mom, and she said, is this set in the 90s? Because my mom didn't know the title of the movie, and so I was like, yeah, it's actually 1994, and she was like, yeah, this reminds me of Scream. I was like, thank you, Mom. And like I said, the killings in this movie, I mean, I didn't even know this movie was rated R when I started this movie. And when I heard the first F-bomb and I saw the blood, I was like, man, is this R-rated? Looked it up, and it was very much an R because this movie is gory. Like, guys, like, holy moly, if you're a horror fanatic gore fan, watch this movie because this is probably one of the goriest slashers I've seen in a good minute because, I mean, it's gory. It's very gory. There's a certain kill in this movie that had me like, oh, and they showed it all. I was like, good for you, movie. And Netflix, good for you for releasing it because, again, I was sitting at home and I wish I got to see this on the big screen because it was just so entertaining. Like I said, this movie it's not groundbreaking. Like, people are giving this like a masterpiece rating, whatever. I'm not gonna go that far. Like, again, I was very entertained. I'm glad a lot of people are liking it, but I have seen better slasher movies. But seeing this movie set in 2021, or released in 2021, and being a 90s nostalgic movie, it felt fine. I was really entertained. Really, all my big issues is there's a little bit of a moment of pacing issues towards the end. There's times where I'm like, end. Oh no, 10 more minutes. Oh, 5 more minutes. It's like, you need to end because, again, it is part 1. So we're going to get part 2 this upcoming Friday, which I will review. And overall, the movie didn't feel complete. Again, it's part 1, so it's supposed to not feel complete. I mean, we get a to be continued at the very end of this movie. So overall, though, I had a ton of fun with this movie. It's gory as hell. It's really funny. There's really good dramatic character relationships that I really like with the main lead and a certain character. I really liked all that stuff. I liked the story. It felt kind of new, kind of fresh. Had something to do with a lot more killers and witches, and I was all in for it. I had a total blast with this movie, and very much there's very good unexpected kills. Like, there were certain characters like, all right, you're dead, you're safe. Oh, wait, you're not safe? Oh, okay. The movie goes for it, and I love that about this movie. It feels like R.L. Stine, except it's R-rated, and you know what? I was all for it. I'm gonna give Fear Street Part 1, 1994, a solid B. Part 1 came out this previous Friday, and Part 2 released this Friday, and I'm pretty sure Part 3 is the next Friday. I'll review the next two, because I very much want to see what happens next, but I have to say, Part 1 was a really, really solid, entertaining slasher. I definitely recommend it if you're a horror fan, and if you like a good scare and you like gore, watch this movie. Anyway, guys, enjoy this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.